You're watching ONTrack Weekly.
Hello, everybody. Cam K here with you tonight. Just make sure I can get my camera on. There we go. Hope you're doing all right tonight. It's a little bit late to the start of the show here tonight. Just trying to get some stuff organized and trying to get stuff available to put on the list of stuff to talk about. And we'll get to our Motorama conversation following some of the kind of the other topics we want to get on tonight. Some big news for the Ontario racing world in regards to Treyten Lapcevich that he put out a couple hours ago, and really fantastic news. It is just, I think it's weird because yes, I am wearing a Treyten Lapcevich shirt today, and I was oddly this morning I was wondering what was going on with him, because I remember that the Cars Tour, obviously he was a part of last year, and the Cars Tour had their race the other night, and he's not on it, not in it. Um, so my whole question was, where's Treyten Lapcevich? Um, well, it turns out uh, he had some pretty cool stuff to announce, and it is, I think, probably one of the biggest announcements that we've seen from an Ontario racer going down south that we haven't seen in a long time. Uh, how about this, guys? I mean, Treyten Lapcevich is going to Phoenix, and he's going to Phoenix with undoubtedly the best ARCA Menards series team in Venturini Motorsports, with the bare knuckle fighting championship in a Vyram. I knew that they were talking about possibly getting to Daytona, and that did not happen. This, on the other hand, wow, very. This is really big, and ARCA is what ARCA is, but to have uh, two of our Ontario homegrown young kids, three if you count Chase Pinsino running once again in the Jags All Pro, driving for Carson Hocevar, but the fact that we have two Ontario young talents that are in the ARCA Menard series this year, Treyten Lapcevich and obviously Kyle Steckley, this is what Ontario racing needs, is some really big names getting this opportunity down south. he's not the type of driver who is gonna forget where he came from. And this is the opportunity that I would have loved to see Caden get as well. But to have Treyten get this experience and get this, I mean, if there's any hope of Ontario racers right now, it's in those two. Chase obviously being a third, and I think where my excitement lies is that both of these guys are still so young and have so much on the table. I really just want them to have a good run. Just just get out there, solid race, finish in the top 5 or top 10. The one thing we don't want to see is like what happened with Kyle at Daytona, where didn't get a ton of laps. Like it was like what 13 laps that Kyle got before he was wrecked, and not of his own doing, mind you, but this is the type of thing. Like I said, I did see the NASCAR Canada Series should be able to filter its champions into an ARCA ride of some sort. Now, obviously, this is his second year following winning that championship. He was in the Cars Tour last year, but got out there and he won a race. So we cannot say that he doesn't have the talent. He has the talent, and when you see the comments and you see all these fellow Ontario drivers posting Donovan Price, Pops Campbell, Tyler McMurder, Jason Metcalf, Mike Hooper, who else we have in terms of you got Frank Gibbons commenting as well. We don't have a ton of comments there, but when you look at this, you got Wally Wilson and Keith Temple, Frederick Ladouceur, as part of it. Mike Robinson, Dave Bradley, Robbie Sykes, Cody Cook, Brian Wilson, Cole Burrows, Cody Coburn, Brant Graham, Garrett Temiersma. Like there is a lot of Ontario fellow racers that want to see this happen. And if he can go out there and get a great finish, man, I don't want to, don't want to go into like low bearing fruit here or anything like that, but at the same time, it can't be worse than what we saw with Amber last year. She struggled so much in a Venturini car that I don't see that Treyten's gonna have that issue. The fact that his brother still works there as a crew chief and has tons of experience, he's gonna feel familiar, and I just want him to go out there and show them what we're made of. The fact that he wasn't able to do Daytona because of funding, it sucks. And I really hope that they are able to do more. It's not enough to do one. And I really hope that he's going to be able to go out there, get a top 5. He's got Isabella Robusto is a great teammate. I think I've mentioned before, I think that Isabella actually has all of these skills to potentially move up. It's just a matter of funding. And that's the big question mark, right? Yeah, you've got funding down here with potentially with in Isabella's case, she's got like Yahoo and the other Toyota sponsors. Really need some new partners to hopefully work with the Lapcevich crew and get him on the map even more than he already was. I mean, he made a real big impact last year, and he's already come up and done it here. So if there's going to be a move to be made, it has to be now. And I'm so happy for him. We talked to him when he was first coming up in NASCAR Canada, and before he ever got that first win, and then the domination championship season that he had. And I mean, the kid he had it from right away, just like his brother Caden did. You know, I'd argue and say that Caden's championship was a little harder for him to get, because I felt like he had a lot more competition. Um, Treyten really the 22 racing team kind of spanked them in his season. He got the most wins, I believe, since Andrew Ranger in a season. And again, like I put it out there as it's ARCA, right? So it very well could go out there and they wad up the field in turn one on lap 2 or something, right? Like I just want that just make the full race, finish strong, you know. I'm curious to see. I mean, I don't know yet. It's this obviously it's happening while we are at Motorama, which is really painful to see, because I would love to. I mean, it's going to be later in the day, which is great because it's a Western event. I'm I'm not sure 100% if it doesn't look, yeah, it doesn't look like they have it, but 20 years old, I mean, how can you go wrong, right? Um, he got the winning at North Wilkesboro last year, and then the South Carolina 400 at Florence. The, those are the type of things that we want to see here, and I love the idea of him being in a Toyota development car. I just really hope that they'll be able to people will be able to grab them. I don't think the entry list is available yet. Later this week. Okay, so I was going to check and see whether or not we'll see if Kyle Steckley is going to run in the ARCA race, but it does not appear that he is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really exciting stuff to see. I can't honestly remember a time where I was this psyched. The fact that you've got, you know, I'm more of a Butterbean guy than I am a Cletus character thing, but there is no doubt what Cletus is doing for motorsports. Uh, the amount of people that follow it because of him, and to see the amount of people that watched ARCA for him it's remarkable. And this is exactly the type of thing that motorsports need. And that might be one of the reasons why having guys like that coming into a division like ARCA, which, let's be honest, has been a revolving door and has really been, it just doesn't have the feel. You go back, was on Speed Channel, I would catch ARCA, and they had names like Frank Kimmel or Mark Gibson or Andy Belmont or Andy Hillenberg, guys that would be around that um, would be a part of the series ongoing veterans, and we just don't see that. And the veterans that have been in there, they're not for the most part running up towards the front. um so if we can get a good amount of racers uh to stick around, or at least to build some sort of a core, that would be great. The likelihood is, though, is that most of these guys that come up, they run a season, then they go to trucks or they go to Xfinity or they flame out, unfortunately. And that would be, that's my biggest worry, is we've seen this all before. We've seen Pete Shepard get the Gong Show opportunity And he got up there and he ran some truck races. He ran some Xfinity races. J.R. Fitzpatrick, same thing. Andrew Ranger, same thing. Alex LeBay, same thing. DJ Kennington. He's the only one that's made it up to the Cup Series, kind of from all those levels. It it would be a big step to say that, oh well, this is he's going to make it all the way to the top, but it starts with first impressions. And first impressions mean everything. And if he can go out there and perform like we know he's capable of, very similar to Kyle Steckley, I expect that hopefully somebody would be willing to help out. Obviously, Aviram and Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship have been with him for a couple of seasons now. It The question, I guess, will be whether or not that still happens. Um, if it's more than just one event, I'd love it if it was full time. Man, it would be so cool to see him every week in an ARCA race, but that's just not the reality right now. But we're talking about a Ontario NASCAR champion, someone who a lot of the racing community literally watched come through these divisions, and the same with Kyle Steckley. You've got these two kids that we watched. Chase Pinsino, maybe a little bit. I don't really remember Chase in the lower divisions. I remember him coming up and running the super stock and running the late model at Delaware, but I really don't remember him much before that. So, but that could just be from my own just not knowing the certain tracks. But I really am hoping that what we'll see is those two kids that'll continue to impress. I mean, Kyle impressed in his Daytona race. He just unfortunately wasn't able to stick around long enough for us to actually get to see how he could do. I'm not sure how much you can hear me or how good the mic is. For whatever reason, my external microphone has crapped out, and I'm not entirely sure why. Um, and I've tried reconnecting it. Unfortunately, it's still not picking up. So hopefully, uh, hopefully it's loud enough. Um, I can't fix anything with the sound, Al. It's as loud as it's gonna get. There's nothing I can do about it because the microphone is now up here. It's not going to be where it needs to be. Um, unfortunately, I'm not sure what's happened to the microphone. It seems to have it's still working, but the for whatever reason the sound but Microsoft is not recognizing it. So basically, I have to talk a little bit louder. Um, it sucks. It's we were in the groove there, and it's not the mic. This mic is not working. So the one that I am speaking to is the one that is literally the one that is the webcam. I mean, I can try the computer. Does that work better? Try the computer microphone instead. It's it it's unfortunate because we were in a bit of a groove there, and I've been having some issues with this mic. Previously, it's been a long time. Uh, it's been a long time microphone that I've used for the podcast for 4 years, 5 years. So basically, since we started, um, I can probably get the handheld out. Unless it's fine, then just let me know. Um, oh, okay. Well, so what we were talking about before, Treyten Lapcevich again, getting the opportunity to run at Phoenix and run for the best the best team um, in ARCA. I mean, this. I mean, I would have loved to see guys like Joe Lawrence get this opportunity when he was running down south last year. Obviously, Jared Fitzpatrick. It's the tough things is like our best I think chance was um, Pete Shepard because you got the opportunity to run with Roush Racing when Roush was at its hottest. But the same issue that plagued Jared Fitzpatrick, that plagued Pete Shepard, that plagued Alex Labbe, that's plagued Raphael Lassard, it's the same story. Every single time we've had someone from Canada make it to the show, we seem to have the same problem. And it is always funding. And it is so incredibly frustrating because we have so many companies that could very well benefit from partnering with these great Canadian racers, but it's all about getting people and getting corporate Canada interested, getting even corporate America interested. Like I understand he's a Canadian, but why is it that they have to be an American racer to have a brand behind them? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can still promote if he's living in the U.S. He still represent a brand. And that's the hope is that, we even saw it with guys like Cameron Haley. He made it to the truck series and it's the same issue. And with all due respect, we can't keep asking Glenn Stiers, to partner with racers. It's just we do that a lot, where all of a sudden now racers are out. They get these opportunities and it's like a couple of years and then they're gone. And Alex Labbe was the one that had the best opportunity lately. He is the one that really made it shine. He did a phenomenal job. But again, it only lasts so long, and he was never able to get to next level, that next team, that next opportunity. It was always kind of the same, nothing against EGM Racing, but they're not at the level of, say, going to do a race for a Joe Gibbs Racing, right? And that's just the issue, right? Uh, I look at this and go, okay, perfect example. Like I take something like this, okay, a Canadian corporation that is globally drank. It's something that Crown Royal was in NASCAR. It's not maybe the most flashy of partners, but they were with Matt Kenseth, if I'm not mistaken. It was Matt Kenseth, I think. Jamie McMurray. I think both of them. It just you've got to wonder, right? What is it going to take? How much are we talking here? And the money in ARCA is ridiculous. This is our champion. This is Canada's NASCAR champion. It doesn't bode well for us if our driver, our champion, cannot get to that next level. So either the system is broken or we still haven't found the magic formula yet. I would love it if he can go out there and have a top 5 finish. But honestly, I've seen, with the amount of guys and gals that we have seen come from and get the opportunity to race in Venturini equipment and tear it up, I just want him to finish. I don't know if his brother is going to crew chief for him. That would be kind of cool. We know that the Lapcevich is crewing or crew chiefing for, Jeff crew chiefing for the boys, has worked into 2 championships. It worries me is basically it. I just want a couple of races, and I want that opportunity to happen. If it's not Treyten, then it's Kyle. Somebody to take that opportunity, even Chase Pinsino. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the option is, but just there's 3 amazing young, talented Canadian Ontario racers that we have in the system now. And all we can hope for is that the people that are behind them, that they'll get behind and they'll bring some new partnerships, and those partnerships will be interested. And it's hard when you look at somebody like Cletus McFarland. How long did it take? How long did it take for him to get his subscribers and to get this opportunity? He's not a small name. We've known about Cletus for years. Now, we're going to switch gears a little bit because there is somebody that posted something today. Now, I don't post typically about these types of things, but because it is a former SNS racer, somebody who we interviewed on the podcast years ago, I thought she had a lot of spunk, and she was she was a good racer too. And then she's just it would appear that her car is available. And like I said, I don't post these things, but I'm gonna put it out there. I know that they want to do some sort of a raffle for this, and it's been a bit of a struggle, but it's a struggle to find somebody. But I'm gonna say that this car is available. This is Layla Walzer's mini stock, and it's a really, really good car. Now it's gone through some bumps for sure. Races and has raced at Sauble, Sunset, and at Varney. And I believe somebody is out there that I don't think we need to go the waffle or raffle route. I think somebody would be good enough to pick up this car for what it is. And I personally love the mini stock division. If I had any sort of money myself and any sort of ambition to drive, I would going for it myself. Um, but and it's also it's sad. I mean, I don't know what the where the plans are for her. Whether she's going to continue racing full time or do something else, or um, has plans to do something else. But I wanted to make sure I told her that I would make sure we mention it on the show tonight. So the car is available. They have opportunities again. If you want to get yourself a good car, this would be the one to go for in the mini stock division. Like I said, I think it's a really good piece, and it just hasn't run a lot last year. Unfortunately, if you guys aren't familiar, Layla actually had I believe she had a concussion in a wreck last year, so she was kind of ruled out for running. So, like I said, I would put this car up there as one of the good pieces to try and pick up. I know she's had help from the Ilium Industry Boys and the Two Speed Motorsports team working on this car, so it's not a piece that is kind of lower end. There's been some pretty good time and effort put into it. So it brings us up to our main topic of the night. And we've got basically around 15 minutes left. So we're going to go in and we're going to talk about what this weekend is. And those that know me know I've been talking about this for a long time. And it is finally here. And I would like to say I am ecstatic, but I'm always just I'm a little nervous always ahead of time because this is still the biggest show for me. And it is Motorama presented by eBay Motors. We're going to go through the program a little bit just so you can see kind of what's going on, what are the attractions, and what my plans are with S&S, but also just being there at the show for all 3 days. From the early indications right now, is going to be exceptionally packed from the racing community. In our booth alone, I am expecting well over 100 racers of our 250 that are going to be there. We have a solid 35 at least plus doing autograph sessions over the 3 days. Saturday is start to basically close to finish is booked with tons of racers. Friday we're basically going to just have the morning, and then Sunday we're doing again just the early morning. And so there will be opportunities for drivers to come get their decals. If they want a Scuffy Award, they come find me, and we'll do that and do the presentation, and also pictures. I want pictures of every racer that comes by to get decals because we need that for socials. And then also on Saturday night is the Fast Eddie track champions or the champions awards. So there'll be a lot of racers coming in specifically for that. But let's take a quick look at. I was there on Saturday, no cars, a lot of campers though. Interesting. So this is what we've got here. This is the official program for the 10th anniversary of Motorama. I actually thought it was around for a lot longer, but I guess not. So if you aren't familiar, the two guys in the middle there are the Rush brothers from Rust Valley Restorers on Netflix. Or it was on Netflix, I think. Before that, it was on History Channel. And Mike Hall, Avery, Shoaf are going to be there for all 3 days. They're going to be there. If you are planning and want to meet them, my recommendation is that you either go on the Friday or on the Sunday. I'm not sure their specific. We're going to go through their specific schedule. I believe there'll be specific times that you can do the signing and pictures, and there's going to be panels with them as well. But the kind of the big thing to think about is Saturday tends to be the busiest day. So, and if I remember correctly, when they were signing in the front hall last year, the line was to the entranceway. So just bear in mind, you got to get there early, and when they start to, basically they'll start the lineups a little bit before they come to do their signings. So if you're going to do that, you've got to do it a little bit prior to when they start to do their signings. There were people that actually weren't even able to get their signatures because they ran out of time. But these guys are so great that they stayed longer than they were supposed to at their signing to make sure they could try and get as many people as possible. Chip Foose is also going to be there from the show Overhauling, and he is going to be there just on the Saturday and the Sunday. So Friday, if you're not going to be there, you don't have the opportunity to meet Chip, but all 3 days for the Rust brothers for sure. I'm going to be there for all 3 days. Now, Friday morning, I will be in the S&S booth. The afternoon, I am out and about. So the likelihood is that I will have cameraman Al there to oversee while I'm out and about. So if you are picking up decals, I have him there, but also potentially there'll be Jomo or Jacqueline, his wife, who are going to be in that area to potentially help you out if you do need it, if you are picking up decals on the Friday. And then the kind of the key thing on Friday is also first thing is that we've got some reveals, car reveals that we're going to be a part of, which is very exciting stuff for paint scheme reveals, car reveals for a couple of different drivers that are going to be there. I do implore those that are going to go to the show not to take pictures of the cars prior to the show opening and posting them on social media, because that kind of ruins the fun. Official car reveals can come out as the show opens on Friday. Show starts at 10 o'clock and goes until 5 o'clock, and that is going to be on the Friday and the Saturday. It wraps up early on the Sunday, but I want you guys to remember Sunday is also daylight savings, so you'll lose an hour of sleep because it's the spring forward. Unfortunately, they decide to do it that way. It's always so brutal to get that lack of sleep. But most of these 3 days, I don't get a lot of sleep either because the adrenaline is just through the roof. So I do invite you, though, to check out Inside Track. They will be the ones, they have this program here. So we're just going to go quickly into, I believe they've got some of the background information here. You've got your table of contents. We've got proud to have eBay Motors back once again. Chip Foose, talking about him, talking about the Rust brothers. The McGuire stage. Now, this is the one that you're going to go to if you want to be checking out the panels. as you see on the photo below, they've had a couple of different people on the panelist stage, and that's in hall number 2. Okay, so you can check that out. I would personally like to see kind of that type of bigger stage for the racing zone. I think we have a really small stage, and it would be nice to have a little bit bigger of a table in the future. And the fact that they've got Meguiar's to partner with them for that is excellent. Along with that, they're going to have the Haggerty Awards. Again, that's specific for the cars that are at the show. We're going to continue on until we get to more of the quote racing side of things. For your schedule. So, oops. So take a look at the Gulf Racing Fuels stage. Now that is where we are located. Okay, radio hosts, podcasters. We'll be on that stage kind of all 3 days. It says based out of the nearby Boneyard Event Services Podcast Zone, hosts Bryce Turner and myself, although it should be N capitalized and then a comma. That's from our actual title stickers in scuffs, not with a small n, are putting together an action-packed and entertaining schedule. So as of right now, you have the Ontario Dirt Show, you have Wide World of Motorsports, you have True North Racing Podcast, you have Only Fours, and you have Stickers and Scuffs that are going to be on the stage. Right now, True North Racing Podcast is killing it with the amount of interviews that they're going to have as part of things. You've got the celebrity guests here, as you mentioned. You got Chip and the Rust Valley guys. They'll be at the Meguiar's stage for a Q&A session each day, okay? And they're going to have their own autograph and photo booth in hall number 2, okay? Now, the Rust Valley Restorer guys have on the 3 days we talked about. So you're going to have the Rust Brothers 1 o'clock to 1:45. That's going to be at hall number 2 again. And again, Chip Foose again. They've got all these figured out in their program. Of course, go to Inside Track. But for us, we have our the 1B. It's at 1 o'clock to 2:15 on Sunday. Is the awards for the kind of the best looking race cars. So that is voted on as well. And we talked about before. I just want to make sure I get the right time here. The Night of Champions 4:30 are. Oh, hold on a second. No. Short track is 6:15 to 7:30 at stage or hall number 2. It is going to be the Meguiar's stage for the Fast Eddie short track Night of Champions, 6:15 to 7:30. 60 champions across, I believe, Canada are going to be there, and that's what's really exciting stuff for them. To be featured on a big show like this, I believe the celebrity guests typically are the ones that hand out the awards. So let's take a look at the layout. Now it's basically the same layout that we've seen over the past couple of seasons, okay? Past couple of years. Your main entranceway is through here. Our basic kind of points to remember is don't get lost. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but it is so easy to get mixed up because of the amount of people that come through the show. And what tends to happen is people like to go just straight and they don't go to either side. What I would recommend is when you first come in to go to the far end and work your way back and forth like this instead of just going straight following the crowd, because you're more inclined to miss things. I worked at this show last year for Stickers and Scuffs, and I didn't even see all of the booths last year. I didn't even see the other end of the room. Okay, so even I missed it. But one thing that you're going to be paying attention to is anything on the map that says your RCs, those are race cars. Okay, so we've got 3 from OSS right at the front of the show. You can't miss them. All right, that is this pathway here is right down into the next hull, into hull number 2. Okay, so you've got to go all this straight way to get there. Now, for where am I located? We are to the left. Okay, so there's the Cascor booth right here. We are located right across from that stage. Okay, so you've got your food and beverages, the food court area. We're right to the left of that. So we're booth 2010. We are right in front of Two Speed Motorsports. Okay, now behind Two Speed Motorsports, there is going to be a bunch of race cars there as well. You're going to have Sunset Speedway race cars. You've got some APC race cars. Now let's take a look and see who is going to be a part. Now, I can't talk about which race cars are going to be there because, frankly, I don't know all the race cars that are going to be there. But what we do have is we have names of organizations, tracks that are going to be there. So what we have, you've got the Southern Ontario Modifieds, Shanaville Drags, the Bandoleros are going to be there. Junior Farley and his team are going to be there. This year, you've got the United Racing Series with Oscar and APC. I'm not sure if they're going to have a super stock there this year. You've got Epic Racewear will be in this section. You have a couple of other companies that are featured. But what I really want to say, okay, before we wrap this show up, okay, Motorama is an option for people to sell themselves. There are a ton of companies here. You've got Jack's Wax, Northern Performance, you've got Wasaga Beach Cruisers, you've got Show Cars Body Parts, you have AutoView, Superior Meats, 905 Tire, Car Buffs, D&D Meats, Aturo Tire, Monty's Blacksmith, Mojo Peppa Sauce, Detail Planet, Zaire Insurance Brokers. You have Bumper to Bumper. You have companies from all over. Sell yourself the best that you can to whoever is here. You've got exhibits galore. It is the opportunity to try and get yourself involved with a partner. Now, don't always go up there thinking, hey, I'm going to go and get the most expensive partner I can. I'm going to go make a ton of money. Connections. Build those connections, whatever you can, whether it's in the racing zone, whether it is as a part of the Hall 2, whether it is someone that you just happen to talk to while you're there. We have had success at these shows for racers that have been able to get partnerships out of it. Don't go there and not have a business card or not have some sort of way to sell yourself in your racing program. Have some options there. Bring your partnership packages with you, your proposals with you. You never know if someone is going to show up out of the blue at a racetrack and want to partner with you because they met you at Motorama. I want to see you guys all this weekend. Come by and say hi. We are in booth 2010 KMK. I'll have Susie Shepard with me on Saturday to help out. We'll be around with Jomo Media right beside them in the booth. But I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to Ryan Clark for that awesome intro. Thank you, Spencer. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up, share, like, pass on, subscribe, of course. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers here on G4 TV. And thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you all next week. And if you're going to Motorama, I will see you this weekend.